Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Bring It here on the ASAP Sports Network. I am your host, the Big Dog. It's good to see everybody out there. It's good to have my cohorts here today. We have fresh off from covering the South Regional in San Antonio, my man Trey. Trey, what's up, brother?
Oh man, I'm coming off cloud nine, man. That was the best experience I've ever had in my life. So I want to thank ASAP for letting me use them as a credential, because I think that's the only way I could get in. But man, it was great. I advise everybody to go as a fan. I go to NBA games. I go to college games. College games are way more fun. The student athletes, there's nothing funner than a drunk college kid rooting for his team. I'm telling you that right now. That's the funnest thing in the world. So I had Houston people on this side, Villanova behind me. They were arguing back and forth. I'm just laughing at both of them because I didn't have a dog in the fight. It was beautiful.
Awesome. Well, we're definitely going to hear more about that in a bit. And we got Coach in the house. What's up, Coach?
What up?
Good to see you. Good to see you. And my man, the host of the I'm going to Tell Like a TIIS podcast, Mr. Jai Shields, is back in the building. What's up, Jai?
Yes, I am. Big Dog, good to be on.
Yes, it's definitely good to have you here. Well, we are going to get to sports, but there was a little fight last night. We could call it a boxing match, if you will. I want to touch on it briefly because it's been all the buzz of the day. Chris Rock stepped over the line with a little joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, and Will Smith decided to do his bring back Muhammad Ali, if you will, and step up and give him a little smack in the face and tell him a couple of false words which you can't say on the air today. And people say it might have been staged. People says it wasn't staged. It's been all this buzz about it. So let's go around the room pretty quickly and just kind of get a quick take about it. So, Coach, as the senior member of the panel besides me, Coach, what was your take on the little Will Smith, Chris Rock thing last night?
I think it was real. To be honest with you, it was one of the moments, because when Chris saw him walking up, he didn't know what he was gonna do. He didn't know if Will was for real or was he fake. So he got slapped. So. I mean, that's pretty much. It was shocking because, like I said, it was, it's on the Oscars. This is pretty much what made the Oscars exciting, because that's what everybody talked about.
Right, exactly. That's all they've been talking about today. I mean, there were other funny moments, and you're talking about in front of millions and millions of people around the world. So Trey, quick take on it. Are you taking sides on this? Or you just think it was just a ridiculous TV moment?
I am taking the side of Team Fake.
Okay.
Like Coach just said, what was everyone talking about today? The Oscars. We all know the Oscars have been horrible for years. No one really cares about the Oscars anymore. Let's just be straight. And then the way you watch it, like if you watch the video when he made the joke, Will Smith was laughing. And then he saw Jada Pinkett Smith kind of not like rolling her eyes. And then that's when he walked up. And then Chris Rock had his arms wrapped around his back, and then he kind of leaned forward a little bit with his chin up. I'm just saying, and I don't know. I mean, I don't agree with it. I mean, I know it's comedy and everything, but I think he crossed the line. But if it was real, then I kind of agree with Will Smith. I think he went around the wrong way. I think he should have said, keep her name. I think he should have said that first before going up there and slapping, and then Chris Rock kept doing it. Then he go slap him. I don't know. I think it was all for ratings, because that's what everyone's talking about today. They've already made up and everything like that. So whatever. Who cares? It's actors being actors. They're both irrelevant right now anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Jai had an interesting video on Twitter last night right after it happened. I want to get Jai's take on this. And that was a pretty funny post he put up last night right after it went down.
Well, I mean, it's funny, because on consecutive Sundays, for whatever reason, I haven't been able to go to bed at a decent, reasonable time. The TCU Arizona game last Saturday kept me up till about 1 o'clock in the morning. I believe a couple Sundays before that, I got home late going to a New Edition concert, and my schedule as far as eating dinner and winding down for the night was all thrown out of whack. Then you go through with the Super Bowl, the NFL. So I have not had a Sunday night where I could just mellow out, just chill and relax and get to bed, because I got to wake up at 6 o'clock on Monday mornings. And you allow me to mellow out, so I can be in bed about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I knew when I woke up this morning, I was like, there's 2 games on. They start at 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock. I won't have to worry about staying up late watching March Madness games. No NBA games on ESPN for me to watch. It'd be a perfect night for me to relax. Until that happened. Let me tell you something. Will Smith, in all objectivity, that was real. I've been around some scraps. I've been around some heated disagreements. I've been around some arguments. I've been around a lot of physical altercations in my short going on 20 years on this earth. That was as real as it gets. And Will Smith with the "keep my name out your bleeping mouth" twice, yelling and screaming at the top of his lungs, and how Chris Rock was just shook. That was as real as it gets. But for for Will Smith to handle it and act like a complete jerk and go out there on international television and slap Chris Rock over a distasteful joke that it wasn't about him. It was about Jada. It was about Jada. Basically, we will never know this because there was no cameras and no cell phone video footage or anything like that. But I guarantee you, in the time where Chris Rock was monologuing, and after in between that and when the camera went on Will Smith and he was chuckling up and yucking up everything, I guarantee you either Will gave him a look that said, laughing, it's going to be another entanglement as soon as we leave here, or it was that, what are you going to do about it? Look, and then all of a sudden his macho kicked in and wanted to, because if you are seriously pissed off and seriously angry that somebody that you love, somebody that you care for, insulted that human being, you don't casually walk up there. And that's the whole reason why people think it was fake, because there was no. Because when you are physically infuriated to the point where you want to physically slap or punch somebody, we see it in baseball all the time. Where, they run, they charge towards the person that they're pissed off at so they can get their hands on them. I think essentially what it was Will Smith being weaponized by his wife with that sick, twisted relationship and the manipulation piece, because that he was completely out of line. He took the attention, ironically, and self-sabotaged his biggest night, arguably, of his acting career. He self-sabotaged himself and stealing, because nobody is talking about us being a case in point. Nobody's talking about, nobody cares about him winning the Oscar. We're all talking about, on a sports show, we're talking about him slapping the taste out of Chris Rock's mouth. And nobody cares. He stole the spotlight from every single person, Questlove especially, who had to follow up that fracas. He caused us a major fracas, and then because the Academy has no guts, they won't let anybody who was in attendance, no actor, no singer, they won't let the celebrities essentially give their 2 cents on what happened after the award show was over. It was a complete disgrace. It was disgusting on all the courts. Jada is at fault. Will is at fault. The Academy is at fault for not kicking his rear end out the damn building, and for not allowing the people that were in attendance to tell the masses, because we're all sitting up here on the wee hours in the morning on East Coast waiting with bated breath to get the real true story of what the heck happened. And the Academy was like, well, if you don't have a question about the award that they won, don't even bother saying anything.
No one really knew what was going on. That was just a thing between two people, and I'm not gonna sit here and say Jada's at fault, because one thing about it, regardless of the situation, when they talk about Jada's always talked about her hair.
Right.
She's like, that was one of the negative things about her. That was one of the things that brings her down. So when he shot the shot at her, and Will saw the look she had, everybody knows, especially when you're married. I mean, I'm married. Big Dog, I know you married. I don't know, Trey, if you
No.
married.
No,
I'm not. I don't really don't care Red's ass about any of these guys. I really don't care.
So, but the thing about it is, me being married, I know the insecurities of my wife. And so I know if that's one of the biggest insecurities and issues, that's something that she can't control. He had to do something. That was my whole thing.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people, they put in what they relationship, man. That stuff they married, regardless of the situation. What they do on their behind the scenes is what they do. But when you're married, you still have to make sure you have to be that guy to protect them.
Right. And that's the thing. They've been together for over 20 years, about 22, 23 years, whatever it is. And anybody, Yoel and Coach, you guys know this, speaking as married men, obviously, you know that, and I know this from a standpoint as my parents who have been married for over 20 years as well. Ironically enough, they got married at the same place Jada and Will did. You bet y'all didn't know that. The point is that when you're with somebody in a marriage, no matter who you are, when you're with somebody in a marriage, especially for that long amount of time, spanning over 2 decades, you know what makes them tick. The husband knows what sets the wife off, and the wife knows what sets the husband off. Whether it's back and forth argument between the two of them, or what an outsider may say to them in their presence, they know. And Jada knew that, and Jada knew that either the look. A look or something gave Will Smith a message that said, hey, you go up there and do something to Chris Rock. And what Jada should have did, knowing good and full well that if he would have suppose Chris Rock slips and he hits his head and what goes from what's a bad joke to something that's catastrophic. Or how about instead of an open-handed slap, he goes ahead and balls up his fist and breaks Chris Rock's jaw, and it holds up the ceremony for 2 hours, because then all of a sudden they got to rush an ambulance because Chris Rock got a broken jaw and his head slammed on the floor. So if you know what makes your spouse tick, you should have the wherewithal and be the adult in the room to sit up here and say, hey, relax. Hey, grab him by the back of his tuxedo, his leg, his hand, his wrist, something. But what it was Jada weaponizing Will to get her little point, her little vendetta, or whatever bug she has up her fanny with Chris Rock. That's what it was about. It was completely selfish, self-centered narcissism from the both of them. Period. End of story.
It was good.
I was going to say, so Chris Rock's nothing to blame with all this, with that stupid joke. I'm just saying, Will could have handled it a lot better, but I'm just saying Chris Rock also couldn't tell that joke, and that's why I don't like Chris Rock, because he doesn't know where to. And I know it's comedy and all good fun, but Jada Pinkett Smith, she's been open, like you said, openly about that disease that she has. That's something you don't mess with. Chris Rock knew that. So at the same time.
Well, if you want my personal opinion on it, if Chris Rock's going to sit up here and say, well, I didn't know she had alopecia, that I really don't. I understand what we're going to do. Every comedian now is going to have to do a little bio before they go on stage about what little issues people are dealing with, this, that, and the other, which goes into the whole cancel culture stuff and people being sensitive, can't make jokes. But my honest personal opinion, the joke flew way over my head because I didn't see that stupid movie that he was referring to, and if me talking, I wouldn't have made the joke. I wouldn't have made the joke. I wouldn't have made the joke whatsoever. If I knew, if I knew, and Chris Rock should have known, but if he knew and he said it anyway, if it was me, and this is from a person that loves to joke around with people and kind of push the envelope with things like that, this, that, and the other. But if it was me, I'd have been like, I'm not going to go there. But Chris did. And I understand actions have consequences, but you don't react like that. But I personally wouldn't have made that joke.
Yeah, he knew. Chris Rock knew ahead of time. He went through it and knew it. That's one of them conversations you go and say, "Hey, Jada, hey, we got a joke, and this is what it is. They want me to say. If you feel uncomfortable, there, like I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I don't know like I said, I don't know. I don't be following Jada like that and all that. But I knew she had something wrong because she was bald headed. Like I seen it before. I'm like, dang, what happened to the beautiful hair she had? So, but I understand. You can say, well, it's Jada's fault. You can say it's Will's fault. It's to the point for Will. Will's one of them type of guys. You can talk about him. You can crack jokes about him. That's cool. He's not tripping because you're gonna say stuff regardless. You see all the memes about Will. That doesn't bother him. It's just a simple fact of the matter. Regardless of all the issues that they had in the past, that's still his wife. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you as a husband, you as a man, you supposed to defend it. That's just if we flip it, Jay, if your mama and I track jokes about your mom being bald headed, and you know your mama's insecure about that, and she about to start crying, you ain't gonna say, "Oh, baby, just laugh it off."
But here's the thing: if it was, but seriously, in all fairness, if it was me, my reaction instantly or nearly damn near simultaneously would have been pissed. I would have been pissed off. Will Smith was not, and that's where people like Trey think it was fake because when you're pissed off like that, you don't sit up here and laugh and then at the flip of a coin get up and go ahead and slap somebody. It's bad optics, and it comes across as disingenuous anger.
But you got to realize, man, even if you go to comedy shows, I've been to comedy shows, like the rule is don't sit in the front. If you get a seat up in the front, you already know. And I promise you, a guy, I can't even think his name. God, dog, the one that be impersonating, Jay Farrell. He said something about my wife. You know, just like a flirt way. You got to laugh it off. And I look at her, she's cool, she's comfortable, she's laughing back. Like that's the thing about it. When you say jokes about Will Smith, he knows for a fact that there's going to be a camera right there in his face. So of course you're going to hit that.
All right. Well, I want to interrupt you guys. About almost an hour ago, Tony just let me know if we can put that up. Tony, Will Smith actually posted a apology on his Instagram page. Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior last night at the Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I'd like to publicly apologize to Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. I would also like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, and all the attendees and everyone watching around the world. I would like to apologize to the Williams family and my King Richard family. I deeply regret that my behavior has stained what has been otherwise a gorgeous journey for all of us. I am a work in progress, sincerely, Will. So, you know, I mean, it's a sincere apology, and he's obviously wants to move forward. It'll move. I'm sure his publicist had a lot to do with it, but you know what? He came out almost 24 hours later, made a statement, trying to clear the air. You know, people are going to think what they want to think at this point, but it's definitely been a fun 24 hours talking about it for sure.
Well, how come no one's blaming the Academy Awards? I mean, no one went to go check on Chris Rock. There was no security guards all over that place, but there's no security guards stopping Will, right? Like the Academy Awards look really bad in this as well.
Yeah,
I agree. 100%.
Everybody keeps saying like the security guards. You would expect another actor to walk on stage and slap somebody. Like they probably have security because if you look at that front row to the left of him, he had Denzel Washington, you had Tyler Perry, you had people behind, like you had the big time actors. Right. And you just everybody keeps saying, "Where's the security?" And then when he got on stage, you don't even know if that was part of the act. Because no one knows how to act or what the scenes are because they try to keep it so secretive, so it's a surprise.
Exactly. There was a lot of other surprises during the show, and then you saw there was a clip during the commercial. We're going to end it here. There was a clip during the commercial that Denzel and Samuel L. Jackson were talking to Will and basically say, "Will, man, you shouldn't have done that." And if Denzel and Samuel are telling you shouldn't have done that, you know you shouldn't have done that. That's for sure. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about sports. Enough of this Hollywood garbage. Let's talk about sports. Let's move on to college basketball. The Final Four is set. After all is said and done, we have 4 blue blood programs in the Final Four. We have North Carolina and Duke, episode 3 of the season. Trey still has Duke in winning it all, so Trey's got a chance to win the whole thing. We've got Kansas and Villanova. I actually had Kansas in the Final Four, so at least I got one right. Nova's got Nova's one of their main players is down with a tore a hamstring the other day. Trey, let's go to you first. You were at the Southern region with Villanova. You saw all of that. So Tell us about what went on in the Southern region, and tell us what you see in this Villanova team. And with this injury, can they match up against Kansas?
I think first off, the experience was amazing. I mean, as a prime example, I hated the Houston head coach Campbell. I hated whoever his name is. I hated him. Yeah, Samson. I'm sorry, Samson. I hated him forever. And then I got to go do a press conference with him. This guy's a really cool guy. Like, he's actually chilling. Like that's one thing I enjoy is like you get to see these coaches in a different light that you don't get to see. Like, you see them on the court on TV, their antics and everything, but you see the love and the support that they have for the players. That's one thing I took away from it is just like how cool it is. But yeah, Villanova, like I said, Houston, it was a home game for Houston. It was about 80-20 Houston because Houston's only 2.5 hours away from San Antonio. Houston was playing really, really good ball, but the Villanova's defense clamps down. They don't change who they are. They play at a slower pace than what Houston did. Villanova matches up well with anybody who they play because they're not going to change who they are, right? They're going to play their game. They're going to have Gillespie run the show. They're going to run the shot clock down. They're going to get a good shot. They're not going to panic. Justin Moore, their stud, who averaged 15 points a game, he actually tore his Achilles. Yeah. I was right in front of me. I saw it pop. You saw him go down. I'm like, oh my God, this ain't good. And he just it was not a good sight. And I just felt bad for him because he was balling out all tournament. It's going to be a big piece missing, but I think that's going to lift Villanova up a little bit against Kansas because Kansas kind of been playing not so great. I mean, their big man is not playing. He's hurt too. He has a sore foot. He has an ankle issue. He's not playing. He had a good game against Miami, but I don't think he's going to have that great of a game against Villanova. I have Villanova actually winning this game against Kansas just because I think they're going to play I think they're going to play for Moore. I think they're going to play for him, want to get it done for him. And I think that emotions will carry through, and I think they'll win that game. I just don't trust Kansas to save my life until they win the national championship. I said this before. I think Bill Self is the most overrated basketball coach in the college game. He's only been to one. He's only been to four. He's been to Kansas 20 years. He's only been to 4 Final Fours, 1 national championship. And the other side of that, Jay Wright, who's been at Villanova since 2000, he already has 2 championships, and his team has the most wins since 2015, surpassing or tying Gonzaga with that win. So if they win the national championship, he has 3 in the last decade.
In the last 6 years, last 6 years.
So we got to start taking Villanova seriously for all intents and purposes. I think Jay Wright knows his players. He knows how to coach. I think he's going to outcoach Bill Self. Now, I will say this: Freer, Martin, the transfer from Arizona State, if he's not shooting the ball well, Kansas is in trouble. Abaji's got to show up. I know he had a good second. He had 13 points in this against Miami, but if he doesn't show up, he's been MIA all NCAA tournament. Martin's been carrying that team. If Martin doesn't start, if he starts missing some shots, look for Kansas to get in trouble. But I do like Villanova in a close one. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think Villanova wins that one.
All right. Yeah, well, you definitely saw them firsthand and definitely got a good flavor on them. Let's go to Jai here. So on the other side of the bracket, Carolina and Duke. Now, us as sports fans, we're into it. We know Coach K. We know his history. You know, I mean, Coach K has been around forever. You know, basically this tournament has been known as the Duke Invitational for God knows how long. But even the casual sports fan, Jai, you know, is going to be tuned in 8:49. It's going to be on TBS, not CBS, which is a damn shame, and that's another story for another day. Yeah. But you know, the casual fan is going to be tuning in to watch this game. So is this Duke team running on all cylinders? Is this their moment? Is this their time? I mean, Trey thinks so because he picked Duke from the beginning. What do you think?
Well, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a lot of red X's on my bracket. So this was screwed damn near after the first day. So I had Gonzaga, Arizona, Wisconsin, UCLA on my Final Four with the UCLA-Wisconsin national championship. So we say goodnight to my bracket because it was just I can't recall having a worse year with making a bracket than I did this year, but that's not the here nor there. Duke, I completely agree. You know, sometimes when it's your time, it's your time. And I see it right now is that Duke is just going to go on a magical run and win the national championship. I mean, I look and see how they played against Texas Tech in the Sweet 16. They shot 71% from the field in the second half. They did not miss a single shot offensively in the final 7 minutes and 30 seconds, and they made 8 straight field goals in a row to win the game and to seal up Coach K's 100th tournament victory. And I look and see how they played against Arkansas. I mean, Duke. I mean, this tournament comes down to making your free throws. If you leave points on the table, not being able to make your free throws, you're going to be in trouble. Duke Saturday night, 16 to 18 from the free throw line. Shot 54% as a team from the field, and they just they're tough, they're gritty, they hustle. I mean, it's just they don't leave any effort or any piss poor bad fundamental plays on the table. They play every game like it's their last, and you just love to see Coach in the Sweet 16 game on Thursday night. Coach K draws up a play one of the timeouts, and this player goes, "Coach, how about we run that instead?" And Coach and all the great coaches do this. And especially when you're a coach that knows the players that you have in front of you and knows their abilities, they got high IQ and in this case, high basketball IQ. You're like, okay, you want to run that? Okay, let's run that, and we'll draw up a play. You guys go out there and execute it, and look what happened. They were absolutely sensational second half of the Sweet 16, and they had a gritty. There were moments where they came off flat. They were flat a little bit against Michigan State, a little bit flat on Thursday night, and they were probably as flat as they've been in the tournament thus far against Arkansas a little bit on Saturday night. But they don't quit. They don't give up. They don't hit the panic button. Oh, holy crap, we're down early. Now we got to start hoisting up 9 million threes and try to catch up. They calm down. They play within their means and let the game come to them. And they just go out there and play Duke basketball. And Coach K having all the full trust in his players. And the thing I love about this Duke run more than anything, I've never been anyone that's hated Krzyzewski or hated the Duke basketball program. But what you love to see what's so heartwarming is that Coach K wants it for his players as much as his players want it for him. This is a completely selfless basketball team from the top, from the head with Coach K, all the way on down throughout the roster. It's a selfless guy. It's not about me. It's about I want it for that guy next to me. I want it for my coach. I want it for my teammates sitting next to me on the bench. I want it for my teammates that are out there 5-on-5 out there on the floor. And I think when a team is on the same page like that, where it's we before me, where it's team, there's no I in team, and they're clicking on all cylinders and they're playing as a cohesive unit. I don't care if it's Coach K with Duke. I don't care if it's John Wynn with UCLA. I don't care if it's Bill Self with Kansas or Roy Williams at UNC. Any team and any sport, if they're a cohesive unit and they're playing together as one solid unit and they're tight like this, and the transparency is there between the coaching staff and the players, they could be anybody that comes in their direction. And UNC, I mean, my goodness gracious. I mean, just a fantastic job by Hubert Davis. His first year as a coach, filling the big shoes of Roy Williams, and he gets that storied, popular and well-known program that is North Carolina Tar Heel basketball. Get with Worthy and with Michael Jordan. You go down the list. A phenomenal job by him and a phenomenal job by the players on that team. The tremendous guts that they showed when they lost Brady Manick on that asinine flagrant 2 and the Baylor game, having lost that huge tremendous lead and still having enough guts and stick-to-itiveness to stay in the fight and to finish off the defending champs, and then how they played and then just punching St. Peter's in the mouth right from the opening tip. Like, hey, None of this, you know, you want me hanging around, lingering around by a couple of baskets, and you steal the game within the last minute. That's dead. We're gonna pounce on you, and we're gonna make sure we're gonna send a message right from the get go. This is going to be a long day for the St. Peter's Peacocks.
Yeah.
But I am looking forward to that game, especially after what happened at Cameron Indoor the first Saturday of the month of March in Coach Gates' final home game. I think this has potential to be. It's ironic. It's the 30-year anniversary of the Leitner shot, Duke versus Kentucky in '92. I have a feeling that this game on Saturday night, it should be on CBS, and I think it should start earlier in the day. But this has the opportunity to be one of the greatest college basketball games of all time.
Well, you say earlier in the day, you're not married or have a kid, do you? So they did it great, but in a late game because you get to go do all the stuff during the day, and then you get to go home at 8 o'clock at night. Like,
yeah,
I get to watch Dude.
They knew to put this game in the prime time. Yeah, right around 8:45, and it might even start a little later depending on how the first game goes. Yeah, prime time is definitely. All right, Coach. So from a coaching aspect, now let's think about it. This Carolina, and we're going to take a break after this. This Carolina Duke game, you know, this is the game that everyone's talking about. This is like, you know, almost, I hate to say it, but this is like the Super Bowl for both these teams because of the rivalry. They each beat each other in each other's buildings. So this is the rubber match. So, you know, yes, this Duke team is playing cohesively now. This North Carolina team is playing cohesively now. But how do you approach this game from a coaching level where these guys don't get too excited, play with their heads in the game, knowing that, yeah, you can win this one, but you still got one more to win. This isn't the last one. Like, how do you handle your players like that?
I mean, one thing about it, when you're talking about just kids in general, they're focused on right now. Like, they can't think about the national championship. The most important thing is right now. So they know, especially now that it's North Carolina or it's Duke. So that's all you're finna hear. That's all you heard since Sunday. North Carolina Duke, North Carolina Duke, North Carolina Duke, North Carolina Duke. So right now they're not worried about the national championship because we can flip it. North Carolina looks to Duke and like, hey, last time we played y'all, we blew y'all out on your court. Duke can look at it and say, they blew us out when everybody and their mama was at the game and watched it. You had all the old heads in the past came because this was Coach K's last game, and they beat the piss out of us. So we got to come out ready to play. I mean, that's the storyline. Right. Like Kansas, Villanova, that's the warm up. But everybody's gonna hear it. Huh? You said what?
An appetizer.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. Because I'm with Trey, man. Kansas, man, he always have all the talent in the world, but he doesn't do anything with it. They do great in the NBA, but they just don't. Exactly. Hey, I give them that, but I think Villanova's gonna win. I think it's gonna be a Villanova UNC rematch of 2016.
Whoa.
2016 rematch. Wow.
But
I like Nova and Duke, but yeah, okay. But either one would be a good game for sure.
Here's the thing: everybody like, why are you picking Duke? You just picking Duke because it's Coach K's last. This is it.
No, so I'm a realist. I'm a realist. I'm picking Duke They have 5 starters going to be playing in the NFL next year that are not even seniors. In the NBA, they're going to be Banchero, who is going to be the #1 overall pick. He's dude, Williams and Banchero. I'm sorry, they're average.
I like these names that you're calling out. Duke always had these guys as #1, #2, #3, #4, #5. Like the past 6 years, they always had it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
The way Duke's playing right now, since the second half of that Michigan State game, they're the best team in the country. That team knows how to close out games. That team knows how to play defense. They know how to win basketball games. So does North Carolina. But I think the motivation of North Carolina, I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's not going to be a blowout.
But I still think Duke, the way Duke's been close, like if you look at that Michigan State game, I think they went on a 7-0 run to end that game. Look at that Arkansas or the Sweet 16 Arkansas game. They went on a run and closed the clamps on that in the second half when Arkansas made a little run. I'm just telling you, this team knows when to stop and when they need to stop and when to get a game. I think this team is playing like that, like my co-host over here said. I just think that they're playing for each other. They just want it more. And that's what I think. I think that UNC's playing great ball. But
You don't think they want it?
They do, but I think Duke is pissed off about Coach, and the stars just aligned perfectly that they're in the same bracket, and they go, "Oh, we get one more shot," and
And
you're
you
not
don't
going to
think
let it go.
you
You're
don't
not
think
going to let it go.
And you don't think North Carolina wants
Oh, they do. All these
all
teams
said
want.
and done and be like, Coach K, you had a great time, and hey, you in the back, we'll see you next year.
Well, here's the thing. North Carolina is playing with house money. North Carolina is playing with house money. The fact that they got to the Final Four in Hubert Davis' first year, that's a tremendous accomplishment on their part as far as the program is concerned. But now, granted, the stakes are still the same. And the winner of this game will never let the opposite. You will never let the loser hear the end of it. If it's North Carolina that wins, even if North Carolina loses the national championship, they'll still be like, "We got to the Final Four, and not only do we beat Coach K and y'all in his final home game in his building, but also in his final Four game to get to the national championship." We beat him and ended his career. So the stakes are right there. The thing is, though, with Duke, the point that Trey is making is that the Duke players felt a certain way having to come back out onto the floor 15 minutes after that game at Cameron Indoor was over, and having to sit through his coach's stories, knowing good and full well Coach K was going to run them until they dropped to their knees and vomited all over themselves after getting, I wouldn't say embarrassed like Coach K did, but getting beat handily in their own building. Having to sit through the Coach K stories, hearing stories from his family, him lamenting, talking about the old Duke players that he had in the 2000s and the 90s and 80s. They felt a certain way. And that's, I think, has been the motivating factor of why they've gotten this far.
No one cares. They don't look. Listen, when that ball tip off, nobody cares about what you did in 1995. Hell, half the kids wasn't born. Just playing.
That's the thing. That's exactly. They want to make their own history. They're sick and tired of hearing about Christian Laettner. They want to make sure they hear about Paolo Pantera, whatever his name is.
Just like Trey said, since we flip it, I'm gonna flip it back with North Carolina. He said all these Duke, this guy's gonna be a first round number 1 pick. This guy's gonna be 4th round. This guy,
not just first rounds. Rounds. They're gonna be lottery picks, dude. They're gonna be lottery.
They're gonna be lottery picks. And so look, that's the bulletin board. Hey guys, everybody's going for Duke. Everybody's Coach K this. Oh, and this guy right here is a lottery pick. This guy is this. So you know what they're gonna say? Why are you not as a lottery pick? Why are you not picked like this?
It goes both ways.
That's the motivation.
It goes both ways.
Because at the end of the day, win, lose, or draw, number 1, North Carolina was not supposed to be there. Number 2, when it's all said and done, just like them, they're going to challenge these guys because guess what? How come I'm not? You go back to what St. Petersburg said. What they say? How come their kids thought they should be at Kentucky? They thought they should be.
Could we stop giving St. Peter's a lot of credit? They beat a underperforming Kentucky team, a Murray team, or that only lost 2 games. But come on, they beat them. They beat like all these great. They beat a Purdue team who probably should have lost to Texas, who didn't have 40% hit 40 shots. No. And then North Carolina, who has the easiest freaking bracket to get to, they had to face the number 1 team in Baylor that probably wasn't even number 1 overall. Shouldn't have been number 1 seed. They play. I watched Baylor play more than anybody. They were not a number 1 seed. I contend that Duke should have been a number 1 seed. The ACC was not down like people said they were, and Duke should have been the number 1 overall seed because there's been 3 teams in the Elite 8 that no other conference can say that. Not even the Big 12, who had the best conference. They only had Kansas, who lucked their way into it, who turned the ball over in the final 50 seconds, or they would have had the chance and upset Kansas. But let's just say that North Carolina had the easiest way to the bracket. They played the 15th to the Elite 8. Duke is your national champion. I'm done.
You're right. They did have the easiest bracket because when that number 1 team played North Carolina, they treated them like they was the number 16 team. And when they played on Sunday with St. Peter's, they said, you know what? We're gonna treat y'all like the 63rd team. We're gonna beat the piss out of y'all and send y'all on y'all way because they made everybody look bad. And them look, because regardless of the situation, those lottery pick guys that you had, they got beat by like 15.
Okay, first off, you say all y'all are saying, "Oh, North Carolina beat the crud out of Duke." Duke had the lead with 4 minutes left to go in that game. They ain't like they smoked by 20 points. Duke had them. They're playing terrible. Duke's gonna win this game by 10 points. I'm telling you,
a loss is a loss. We don't care. Look,
they didn't get cremated like you'll say like they wiped the floor with Duke. They didn't.
John has all this history in the background. And he accepted every win. If it was a field goal, if it was a missed call, he took every win. So again,
that's true.
I love
that's
it.
True.
And I love it. And guess what? I swear to God, I'm gonna be on instant message and everything, hitting you up like, there they go.
I'm telling you, you don't want to be on social media at 10 o'clock when Duke's over there going to the national championship, baby.
All
but
right,
I will say this real quick, yo. I know we got to go.
Okay, we're gonna go to a break and finish up, Trey.
I was just gonna say, if you're Coach K and you somehow lose in North Carolina, don't you kind of have to come back? I mean, do you really want that on your? I mean, he's not. I'm not saying, but it's like you're gonna have that last thing on you. Like, I lost to North Carolina my last home game, and in the Final Four. That's a bad way to go out. I'm just saying you might want to think about coming back. I'm just saying.
We don't know. We don't know if that's gonna happen. All right, I love when it gets like this. This is awesome. We're gonna take a short pause. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about the NBA. The Boston Celtics are now in first place in the East. And is Phoenix running away with the West? We'll be right back.
Get ready. This summer, the Arena League Sports is on ASAP Network. Tune in live on either the Tiki Live or Roku app, as well as your smart home TV.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are excited about our partnership with the Arena League, and looking forward to all that. That's going to be awesome once that whole thing starts. So let's talk a little NBA. Over the weekend, the Celtics are getting hot. They are now tied for first with the Miami Heat. Coach, you've been on the Heat bandwagon most of the year. Actually, the last couple of years, you've been a big Heat supporter. Now they're tied. Is this Celtics team the team to beat now? Is it still the Heat? Is it still anybody's conference? I mean, the Bucks and 76ers are only a half a game out of first. The Bulls are only 3.5 out in fifth. I mean, but is this the Celtics stepping up and saying this is now our conference to win?
Yeah.
I love your nonchalant answer.
whatever you want to say. Look, I'm still look. Man, first round, after the first round, second round, that's when it starts getting real. And that's when you see, and I said it before, it's coaching. I don't know, I can't even pronounce his name because I know he used to be a good he used to work for San Antonio. I can't even pronounce the head coach name.
Udoka, I think is how it's pronounced, right?
Yeah.
Like that?
Neil Long's partner. I just know he had Neil Long on his side. But anyway, that's another story for another day. But anyway, I just truly just think, I mean, I like them. I like Boston, but I don't think they're there yet. They're still young. They're still about me. Once you become team, then that's a different story. And again, I'm gonna ride with Miami. I like Eric Spoelstra. They're getting a little argues. They're getting a little fight. So now they're about to turn it on, wrap it up, just in time.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you see the Heat still finishing first and Boston probably finishing second.
Well, I don't care who finished first or second. I'm talking to win the championship. They can have first place. It's pointless. I mean, honestly, if me as a Heat fan, I'd rather take second anyway. Because
because you're gonna see Brooklyn.
You don't want
to see Brooklyn.
You can say what you want. Hey, that's the gauntlet. Like, hey, I'd rather them beat up on each other. I'd rather then you gotta go and you backdoor and you play Philly. So
no, that's true. That's true. You understand this a whole lot. All right, Jai. So we've never had you on for any basketball talk before. So
we have.
Oh, we
last
did.
Time we were on, we talked.
Oh, right, we did. All right. Do you have an NBA team that you root for to support, or?
I'm neutral.
You're neutral.
I'm neutral until either Baltimore gets a team or I move out of Baltimore and I live in a city for a good amount of time and I kind of like attach myself to that team. But I've been neutral.
Hey, you live in Baltimore?
You live in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys. Yeah, tell them why you root for the Bengals. This is a good story. I know this story. Tell them why you root for the Bengals. This is
I
a
knew
good
why you're a
story.
Bengals fan. I just never knew you lived in Baltimore. I thought you lived like
Yeah.
in Florida or somewhere. But I never knew.
I wish I did. I wish I did live in Florida. I mean, you kidding me? It's spring, March 28th, and it was 30 degrees outside when I woke up this morning. I'm like, what is this? Anyway, so baseball was my first love. It was the first sport that I fell in love with. One of my first favorite sports. I love basketball, football, and baseball with a little golf mixed in, few and far in between. But baseball was my first love, and of course, being a local Baltimorean, and the team's been around here for a little bit. And thanks to my maternal grandmother and my father, they instilled the love of the Baltimore Orioles within me. I chose them as my favorite team. I've been a fan since I was about 3 years old, so that was 2000 and what? 2002 plus 3, easy math, Jay. 2005 thereabouts. And then all of a sudden, about a couple years later, I got introduced to the sport of football. And, I was like, I was like trying to pick my team. I was like, okay, I don't want to do the Ravens because, and I was 5, 6 years old. So weird things, you pick a team based on weird stuff like, do you like the mascot, the uniforms, the colors? I didn't care for the Ravens because I hated the color purple. I didn't choose the Steelers because every single person born within the 410443 area code, I mean, you cut me open. It's in my DNA that thou shalt not root for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It doesn't matter if you're a Raven fan or not. If you're a Baltimorean football fan, you despise the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's just concrete written law. You do not like the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the Cleveland Browns stunk. So I was like, I'll pick a team that nobody talks about that happens to share the same colors as my favorite baseball team, the Baltimore Orioles. I picked the Bengals, and in large part, which has been a tremendous decision on my part, not only because we've gone to the AFC Championship and we won it, went to the Super Bowl, but because I must say we have one of the nicest helmets and one of the nicest uniforms in all of sports. But I chose the Bengals at the age of 5. And, there have been moments as recently as 2020, 2019, 18, 17, 16, and even that playoff game in 15 and 11, 12. There's been moments where I'm like, do I really want to keep on doing this to myself? But until this year came along, that all changed. See champions. And we're going again to the Super Bowl next year. So that's my Bengals origin story.
Trey's a Cowboy fan, so he knows all about suffering.
Whenever I was young in the 90s, early 90s, they were great. Like, oh, this is the best team in the world. And now it's like, and then we find out that Jerry's affair is causing the curse of the Cowboys because they haven't won since that 96, since that girl was born. Just saying.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, let's get back to the NBA. So Jai, where do you see the Eastern Conference right now? We got about a week to go in the season, about 5-6 games. The Celtics have definitely stepped up. I mean, Kyrie can play now at home. Is everyone saying, "Oh, Brooklyn's going to go on this run now that Kyrie's back"? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't really have a lot of faith in Brooklyn getting it together in time. Where do you stand with the East right now?
I mean, I look at the Boston Celtics, and they are the cream of the crop in the Eastern Conference, if not the entire NBA. They have not lost a game since March 13th. They've won 11 out of the last 12. They are currently sitting within the Eastern Conference at the moment, with the number 1 seed tied with the Miami Heat at 47-28, with a 4-game advantage over the 4.5 game advantage over the Toronto Raptors. They're 26-12 at home, 21-16 away from TD Garden. They have a conference record of 30-16. They're currently on a 6-game winning streak, and Jason Tatum can do no wrong. When I look at the Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie Irving, and now that they got that vaccination law taken care of, they're currently sitting at the 9th seed. You look at their 16-20. They basically what they got. You know what they got to do? And the Nets have won 7 last time. You know what the Nets need to do? They need to just pull out a ridiculous winning streak out of their behind and just say, you know what? We got no more excuses. No more. If Ben Simmons doesn't want to play, okay, fine. KD, Kyrie Irving is enough. Just go on there and kick ass and take names. Just go on a ridiculous winning streak. Make up on all those games early in the season that you had no business losing. Because if you're the Nets, why would you want to play in a playing game when you know that when the chips are in the middle of the table, you're one of the best teams in the sport, one of the top of the list. If everything breaks you in, everybody's healthy, everybody's playing and active as a championship contender. Why would you want to play a playing game? I'd be like, no, guys, bump that. I am not playing an extra couple of games to play in the playoffs for me to win a championship. Not doing it. So what we're going to do, we're going to put our nose to the grindstone towards the end of the month of March and throughout the rest of the regular season or early April, and we are going to dominate the competition and make sure that we are not playing a playing game. Because once you get out of that playing game, it's anybody's game, and it doesn't matter what seed we get. I'd be if I was a member of the Brooklyn Nets, if I was Kevin Durant, anybody in the locker room, I'd be like, it doesn't matter as long as we get seeds 1 through 6, we're gonna be all right, and we're going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals to compete for an Eastern Conference championship and going to the NBA Finals. So as of the moment, the Nets are not the best team in the Eastern Conference by any stretch of the imagination. Again, maybe they're going a little bit of a hot streak, and Kyrie Irving goes out there and plays out of his mind on a consecutive night in, night out basis. I would sing a different tune, but as of right now, you cannot ignore or marginalize the work that Jason Tatum and the crew have done up in Beantown, because they've had a sensational second half of the season in particular. Sensational.
Oh no doubt. Tatum has definitely turned it on. He's become a special player. You're right there, Trey.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We're going to move over to the Western Conference. I'm going to go to you, Trey. Phoenix is basically running away with this conference right now. 9 games up, basically secured the number 1 spot. Chris Paul seems to be coming back. And, I mean, is the injuries that the Warriors and the Grizzlies have had to deal with, is it going to be too much for them to overcome come playoff time? Is Chris Paul finally going to step up and have this playoff? We've had this discussion before, but it's a week later. Seems to really be playing well back off this injury. I mean, where do you see Phoenix running away with this conference, or can Memphis or the Warriors match up with them even with their injury issues?
It's a foregone conclusion. Or Phoenix is going to win the West. They're going to wrap it up, or they should already wrapped it up. But anyway, I just don't trust Chris Paul. That just comes down straight to it. I just don't. I like Alvin the head coach for the Phoenix Suns. Forgot his freaking name.
Monty Williams.
I'm sorry, Monty Williams. I like him as a head coach. I just don't. I don't trust Chris Paul. He's going to get another injury sometime in this playoffs. I can almost guarantee you it. Is re-aggravating the thumb or whatever. But if Golden State can get Steph Curry back, they got Iggy back tonight. Draymond Green's finally getting back. Klay Thompson and the way Jordan Poole's playing, I just don't see. It all depends on Steph Curry and his foot. Is he going to be back 85, 90%, or is it going to be a lingering effect where it's going to affect his shooting? Is this going to be a blessing in disguise where you get Steph Curry the rest and he's going to come out blazing like he did against Portland when he came back? I said out the first series of that year, and he came back and lit it up against the Portland Trail Blazers and said, "This is my house. I'm back," whatever the case may be. But Memphis, I like Memphis a lot. They're young, they're scrappy, they play good, they play well with each other. John Morant should be in MVP conversations. Not saying he should win it, but he should be in MVP conversations. I just don't trust their experience, I guess you can say. They have to get there first. Yeah, they made a good step forward last year, again, beating Golden State and getting the playoffs. But they needed that. I don't know if they have enough there to make it all the way through. I think it's still going to come down to Phoenix and Golden State, and I think you're going to have a 7-game series. I just believe that. You have the championship pedigree, and Golden State, Steve Kerr's been there, done that. According to 15, one of the top 15 head coaches of all time, which I don't agree with. And I like Steve Kerr, but he hasn't done it long enough for me to classify him as a top 15 head coach. But he's won 3 championships. Steph Curry's won 3 championships. Klay Thompson's won 3. Draymond Green's won 3. The only question I have with the Warriors is their side, because Wiseman's out for the year. And so that's the side. The Ayton's going to be a problem with them. Draymond Green with his hurt back, I don't know how long he's going to hold up in the paint. Looney's been balling out for him all year. He's the only Warrior who played every single game. I think it's a 3-team race. I think I think it's going to come down between Phoenix and Golden State. I just think that's what's going to happen. I don't care how bad the Warriors are playing right now. They're playing for the playoffs. They don't care. You can see Steve Kerr's not playing any of his guys on back-to-backs. He doesn't care about the regular season anymore. He knows he's in the playoffs. They just get us healthy to the playoffs and see where we go from there. So yeah. I think it's going to go to them too, and I'm guaranteed that Chris Paul is going to have a nagging injury again, and it's going to affect him. That's the way I believe it. But the tide has really turned. I mean, for the last 10 years, we've been talking about the West and how dominant it is from 1 through 10. This year, it's the East, who's 1 through 10, and now this year, a play-in game with San Antonio Spurs and Los Angeles Lakers are 28 and 41. Yeah. If you're going to be in this thing, man, I mean, this is being straight up honest. The Spurs are in a spot right now where they could be in the play-in tournament, or they have the fourth best, or they could be the 8th best chance of getting the number 1 overall seed. That's just how ridiculous this is.
Well, it's like in the NFL when the 1 year when the Redskins won at 6-10, you know, or the Seattle won at 7-9, you know, there's the same type of thing. So Coach, you know, right now the Golden State and Memphis are playing. None of their big players are playing. Curry's out, Green's out, Thompson out, John Moran's is out. But interesting thing about Memphis is 17-2 when John Moran has not been in the lineup. Interesting stat, Coach. So how does a team like that approach the playoffs, knowing that they have a 17-2 record without their star player? I mean, how do you manage that? Where, you know, what does it say about your star player when you have a 17-2 record without him?
That's good. It's cute. But like I said, one thing about it is when you talk about playoffs, you have for sure play one team 4 times in what week and a half span. So you're gonna pretty much know everything about the guy. You're gonna break down film. You're gonna know what his moves are. You're gonna know where his spots to shoot the ball. That's when I say it all the time. That's when coaching comes in. That's when the veterans come in, because you have to deal with the media. You have to do this. You got to do that. All the pressure that comes with it. So they're not going to win a series without John Moran. I mean, that's, like I said, it's regular season, and that's like Golden State. Golden State knows, hey, we're in the playoffs now. Let's get healthy. Let's get as healthy as we can so we can make this run. Because that's what's important. Because all the records, and you can do all these things, but if you can't get out the first round or you can't get out the second round, it's a pointless year.
No, definitely. It's you know, and I think the playoffs will definitely be good, definitely be fun to watch. I mean, the play-in tournament is going to be just why, you know, it's just these teams aren't going to do anything. You know, unfortunately, we're running short on time, so I wanted to talk a little bit about Baker Mayfield, but we could skip that because it's not really that big a story. So I just want to move on to our final take of the night. Basically, I'm going to go first because I never go first, so I'm going to go first. My final take is that yesterday in an exhibition game, I know it's only exhibition baseball, but Jacob deGrom pitched 3 amazing innings. Max Scherzer pitched the other 6, completely dominating, looking really good this spring. As a Met fan, gives me a lot of hope for this year. If those guys can stay healthy, we can have 2 of the best pitchers in the league and hopefully, you know, get ourselves finally to a pennant because you know, it's all about staying healthy, as the Braves proved. You know, even though they had their star player out last year, the Braves proved that with a healthy staff, they can definitely move forward in the playoffs. So I'm really hopeful for baseball season next week. So that's what I have to say. Jai, what's your final take of the night?
Well, I'm not going to waste my time talking about the disgusting, pathetic Baltimore Orioles because they are just another disgrace in and of themselves. But what I will say is, how about my Cincinnati Bengals boosting up that O-line, getting the 2 offensive linemen. Tom Brady's, I don't have the sheet in front of me, so that's why I'm, ad-libbing. But the guy Carcass, and then you have you got the other guy getting from the Belichick tree in New England. Well, not the Belichick tree, but a Belichick coach playing New England. Brady's old teammate down in Tampa, and you got Lyle Collins, the old tackle coming from the Dallas Cowboys. My Cincinnati Bengals, you saw what Joe Burrow did with a garbage turnstile offensive line. Watch and see. Watch and see what the Cincinnati Bengals are going to do. We ain't even at the draft yet. Now, do I love the fact that C.J. Uzomah is gone? No. Do I love the fact that Eli Apple is still on the team, having vomit all over himself in the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. But we are going to be a team on a freaking mission. Bengals, let's take what we lost last year, and that's winning ourselves a Super Bowl. Watch out.
I love your passion for your team, Jai. It's absolutely amazing. But I saw Coach's face during that little final take. So, Coach, what you got to say?
You don't win championships in the off season. You don't win. You don't believe hope. You sound like a Cowboys.
The Rams did. The Rams did.
You sound like the Cowboys fan.
Not really. The Rams won in the free agency market and trade deadline.
Yes.
So who is their quarterback?
Hey,
I mean,
Josh,
they traded Matthew Stafford.
Can I ask you, Josh, let me ask you this. First off, we ain't got that much time. I'm not gonna break down your offense. You have a tackle that hasn't played but 5 games in the last 3 years. You had a guard that was next to 2 all-pro players, so he was safe and he was good and was very much protected. And on top of that, it doesn't even matter because guess what? The teams that you struggle against, the Raiders got better.
Derek Carr and Josh McDaniels, really?
Oh,
Devontae Adams.
All of a sudden, the Raiders are big-time Super Bowl contenders.
And guess what?
The Rams for Devontae
And
Adams.
Cincinnati's in the same boat as Cleveland. You give us hope, and then you know what happens the next year? You don't even make the playoffs.
Let's hope not. I mean, that's a strong possibility because the AFC is so freaking competitive, and it's going to be a gauntlet.
And keep in mind,
let's hope not.
Since you want to talk about it, you played a Baltimore team where they had the 7-string secondary, no running back, and no quarterback half the year, and they would have won the division if Harbaugh just would have kicked the field goal.
Yeah, exactly. Twice.
I'm not saying that the Bengals are going to run. I'm not saying that the Bengals aren't going to work for this.
And then
they're going to have to work to get back.
And then on top of that, Pittsburgh got 20. They got better. I didn't even know they got Miles Jack. And on top of that, they got Brian Flores as a coach.
They have the worst quarterback in the division with Mitch Trubisky. You're eliminated by default.
Mitch Trubisky, my friend. Mitch Trubisky.
Hold on, it doesn't matter. They made the playoffs with a quarterback that couldn't throw over 15 yards and couldn't move with Big Ben.
The day that the Pittsburgh Steelers finally wake up and realize that their window of competing is closed, wake me up and call me so I can throw a parade. You got all these teams in the AFC, and we're still thinking that the Pittsburgh Steelers are some formidable team in the AFC to go compete in the Super Bowl.
When was the last time that Cincy won a playoff game before this year?
So what? Nobody cares.
I'm doing
30 consecutive playoff games. Somebody cares about what they didn't do for 30 years. That's out the window now. Irrelevant. The only thing that still matters from the past is the goose egg when it comes to Super Bowls. But you can't play the playoff game card anymore. Can't do it.
You're right. You're right, sir. So you have to April. You have to April 1st to stop talking about what y'all did last year because no one cares. I gotta go though because I gotta get this call. Hey, it was good. We should do this again.
All right, Trey. What's your final take on the night? We gotta go, man.
All right, all this football talk. Hey, I know. Bring it. Just we're over. We're done. Turn it to ESPN right now. Women's Final Four spot on the line. UConn, NC State is in overtime. It is a good game. NC State just missed a buzzer beater to win it, so they're in overtime. Turn to ESPN right now because bringing it is over. So
nobody cares. Hey, North Carolina, baby, let's go. North Carolina,
dude. All right, well, that's our show for tonight, guys. We will see everybody next week. We'll preview the NCAA championship game, and we'll see what else pops up this week. For everybody on the panel, I'm the Big Dog. Peace out. We'll see you next week.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so time for late.